Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and I'm not in my regular studio today. I'm in the home studio today because it's Friday. And, you know, every once in a while, and actually for the last number of weeks, I like to try to give, you know, my studio crew, Ray and Jonathan, and even Rob himself, they work really hard during the week, and I like to give everybody a bit of a break on Friday so I can come in here and do the show myself and give everybody else a break. So, yay, there's that. I'm going to tell you a little bit of story before we get on things. We got a lot of things to talk about today. What is Warner Brothers going to do with Batman moving on? Speaking of the DCU, what's going on with Flash? Why no announcement about the Flash movie? What's going on there? The whole stuff with Fighting With My Family, and will Paige's personal tapes be in effect on that? We're going to talk about the Fast and the Furious spin-off film. Hobbs and Shaw drops a new trailer. But before that, I want to share a little bit of a story. You guys know that I take live questions every day. And when I take the live questions, I don't always have time to get around to all of them, so I do these companion videos. So I go to do a companion video yesterday. And I'm here in my home studio, and I fired up, do the companion video. Was just under an hour and 45 minutes, so nearly 2 hours long. And when I get all through it, I go to hit stop recording, except I had never hit record. See, I got two buttons here on my main controller. One is a stream button to stream the live shows. One is record to record to hard disk. And I accidentally hit the live stream button, and I didn't have a live event set up, so it was just streaming to nothing. I accidentally hit the live stream button instead of the record button, and so I basically spent 2 hours talking to a computer for nothing. And I was very upset. I swore in 5 languages. I believe, yes, 5. 5 was the number of languages that Giovanni Campea was swearing in. And not a fun time for me. Not one of my prouder moments. I am, of course, a genius. And yet again, I just proved my geniusness. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get to it, guys. This morning, we knew it was coming. The first trailer for Hobbs and Shaw hit. And I'm going to tell you what. Now, I've been looking forward to it. I mean, you got the director, one of the directors of John Wick doing the films. I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I love Jason Statham. They're the two most pure, true action stars left in the business today. So I love these guys. So I go in, watch it, and I will tell you what, I ate this trailer up. I ate it up. I loved it. It is balls to the wall ridiculous. And you know, I got on Twitter this morning, and I put out a tweet that said this, paraphrasing, but you knew that eventually we were going to get two things in the Fast and the Furious universe. There are two things we know for sure would happen in the Fast and Furious movie universe we've known for a while. Number one, that at some point, they're going to drive their cars into outer space. We just all know that's coming, right? You know it, I know it. At some point, they're going to drive their cars into outer space. The second thing we all knew was going to happen eventually is that superpowers. Superpowers would be introduced into the Fast and the Furious universe. And ladies and gentlemen, they've gotten to number 2 before they got to number 1. Superpowers have come to the Fast and Furious universe before going into space. And there you have it. And I'll tell you what, I love this. I love the dynamic between Statham and Dwayne Johnson in the previous Fast and Furious movie. One of my big gripes with that was they set it up so great, but then we didn't get an awful lot of them together. So that was one of the reasons why I was excited about this. There is a kind of a little bit of a slapstick, buddy cop comedy, ridiculous, stupid action, which has become the Fast and the Furious kind of calling card. I was grinning like an idiot from the start to the finish of this trailer. Just grinning like an idiot. And the fact that you have Idris Elba in there is fantastic. And that whole thing, you knew something was going to happen. When the two of these guys are standing and they're getting ready to jump out of the building on 3, 1, 2, 3, you knew one of them wasn't going to jump. And Statham gets in the elevator, cracks it, and like the F you from Dwayne "The Rock" and Jason Statham it was glorious. Now look, to this day, we see some people complaining that Fast and the Furious is supposed to be about racing cars. Dude, that was 2008. The Fast and the Furious has evolved for the better. The Fast and Furious is no longer, and it hasn't been about just racing cars forever. And the movies have been much better. Like, it's not really since Fast and the Furious 5. Really, Fast and Furious 4 was the last time it was even remotely about car racing. So it's not about that anymore. Get over it. They've moved on from that. And quite frankly, 4, 5, 6, I mean, really 5, but I started liking it 4, but 5, 6, 7, and 8 were all better than 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because I'm not going to lie, I thought 1 through 3 sucked. I did not like Fast and Furious 1 through 3. Didn't like them. Fast and Furious 1 was a blatant shot-by-shot, completely shameless ripoff of Point Break. It is literally a shot-by-shot, plot point-by-plot point ripoff of Point Break. It's like they should be charged or something. It's ridiculous about that. 2 was terrible. 3 was even worse. 4 was the one. I didn't love 4, but I remember going into Fast and Furious 4, not enthusiastic because I hated the Fast and Furious movies. And I go into 4 and I came out going, that wasn't bad. But in Fast and Furious 4, you could see they were altering the nature of the Fast and Furious universe. They were starting to lean towards becoming just embracing the ridiculousness of it and going just crazy with it. They started to show you that DNA in 4, and then 5, they bring in The Rock, their box office doubles, and it's all been history. So I get it, but I've been hearing people complain for like 6 years now about Fast and the Furious used to be about car racing. Okay, yeah, but you know, we used to use dial-up phones too. Things move on and they get better. And the Fast and Furious is a franchise that has gotten significantly better. And I'll tell you what, this is just the natural, ridiculous progression of the Fast and the Furious movie with this Hobbs and Shaw trailer. I thought it was great. I thought they fully embraced the ludicrousness of it all. They just went balls to the wall, and I can't wait to see it. And I think these guys are going to be great, and I can't wait to watch a full 2 hours of it, however long this damn thing ends up being. And yeah, it was just terrific. And of course, you know, they got to have some car stuff. So they got, you know, Shaw driving that really low riding race car, goes right under the truck and out. So you know they're going to have some car stuff because it is a Fast and Furious movie. And that's fine. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson driving that massive truck, taking out all these other cars. That looked great. I enjoyed that a whole bunch. And yeah, is it completely ridiculous that they brought in superpowers? Yep. But they had to. You knew they were going to at some point. Here's an interesting thing, though. The ultimate Mary Sue, and I love Vin Diesel, and I love the Fast and Furious movies, but a fair criticism, which I embrace, is that the ultimate Mary Sue in any movie ever is Dominic Toretto. The Dominic Toretto character is the ultimate Mary Sue because he can take on 5,000 T-1000 robots in a fist fight hand-to-hand, and he'll always win. And he'll never take a shot. He'll always win. So you could only do this movie without the Dominic Toretto character because the Dominic Toretto character would just walk up to the superpowered Idris Elba, catch one of his punches, crush his hand, and go, family. And then the fight would be over and the movie would be over in 2 minutes because that's what they do with the Dominic Toretto character. He beats everybody. He went from a car-fixing grease monkey in Fast and the Furious 1 to the ultimate international espionage man spy combat warrior ever in the history of the universe forever and ever. Amen. And it just became ridiculous. He would not fit in this movie for that reason. And I love that. I love that we got these guys. I love that we see Idris Elba kicking their asses. I think this trailer's great. So, and I'm not even talking about the ridiculous, what about Han? Who cares? I'm not even talking about that. This is a great trailer. I enjoyed it immensely. I cannot wait to see this movie. It is just ludicrous, and I love it for that. All right, guys. Listen, with that down, let's get on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You guys select the main topics by emailing me your topics and questions anytime, 24/7 to John at thejohncampeashow.com. That's John at thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you guys put that word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, keep those emails to 90 words or less. So let's get on to the first email today. And the first email today is coming to us from one of our Patreon supporters, Dan Ketchum. First of all, thanks for being a Patreon supporter, Dan. Okay. We now have a release date for The Batman, Reeves said. Reeves said the following: Warner believes that they don't have to try to develop a giant slate that has to have all the plans for now. It's going to connect. What they need to try and do is make good movies with these characters. Awesome. But if we are getting young Detective Batman, how can they ever tie things together? Won't they need yet another actor to play a geezer Batman someday for Justice League Redux? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Dan. And that is a question that's been coming up a lot lately. Ever since, they announced that they finally made it official, Ben Affleck is not going to be Batman. They're getting somebody else, probably going to go younger. there are a few assumptions going around out there that may be true, but nobody's ever said they're the fact. Number one, people are assuming because it's a younger Batman, that means this is going to be set back in time. That this is a Batman movie that will be set in the 90s. Or be set in, the early 2000s. Or maybe even the late 80s. However far back they want to go and however young they want to make Batman. But nobody has ever said they're going backwards. But John, you may rightfully say, if they're going with the younger Batman, how can you not go back in time? Simply, they don't care. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to do the Batman with Matt Reeves set back in time a bit. I'm not saying they're not going to do it, but there's been nothing to say that they are. And how do you do a younger Batman if you don't set it back in time? Simple. By adopting the tried and true Fox philosophy when it came to their X-Men universe. Continuity, schmontinuity. Who cares? Who cares if this movie doesn't line up with what we did in a previous movie? Who cares? Do you know how many continuity problems there are in the X-Men universe? And they never cared. They never cared. All they cared about was making really good, solid movies. That's all they cared about. So whoever they have come along and take on the cape and cowl, they don't necessarily have to care that it's a younger one and say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't line up with Justice League. It doesn't matter. They're kind of soft rebooting this whole thing anyway. Now, again, let me be very clear. John Campea is not saying that the Matt Reeves Batman is taking place in the modern era. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying there's nothing right now officially suggesting that it's not going to be that. They could have a younger Batman and just say, that's what Batman is. Deal with it. Just like Fox went, wait a minute. Liev Schreiber isn't Sabretooth. Tyler Mane is Sabretooth in this universe. You know what Fox said? Deal with it. Liev Schreiber is our Sabretooth now. By the way, despite the fact that movie was terrible, Liev Schreiber was an awesome Sabretooth. I would watch another Sabretooth movie with Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. I'm just saying. But, they go, wait a minute. Professor X died in that last X-Men. How is he back? You know what Fox's response is? Who cares? Deal with it. This is your Professor X now. This is your Sabretooth now. I'm the captain now. That's what their thing is. And Warner Brothers may just adopt that whole thing. They may just adopt that whole thing and just go, you know what? This is Batman. But in the other movies, shh, 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 quiet, shh, shh. This is Batman now. That's what they might do. Again, I'm not saying that's what they will. I'm not saying that's what they should. I'm just saying that is an option that is on the table. Because clearly Walter Hamada is rejigging everything here. And it may just be that we're going to get a new Batman that is a younger Batman, and we're just saying, that's Batman, ladies and gentlemen. This has always been our Batman. No, it hasn't. Shh. Yes, it has. It's been our Batman the whole time. These are not the droids you're looking for. Batman was never in his 40s. He's always been 30. No, he wasn't. Shh. I mean, that's kind of what Warner Brothers is saying to us. And maybe they will. Is it the right thing to do? Well, I don't know. It's up for debate, I guess. But can it work? Yeah, Fox has already proven it works. It may not work, but Fox has already proven it can work to say the great words, continuity, schmontinuity, and the power of Shazam comes down and wipes everything clean. So honestly, right now, I don't know what their plan is. For all I know, maybe they will it would make sense, I guess, to set this Batman movie in like 1998 or something like that, and it's the younger Batman. Remember, guys, I keep telling you this, there is still one film left on Ben Affleck's contract. There is still one. And Warner Brothers could choose to execute that one remaining film in his contract to maybe pop up in a Harley Quinn movie, maybe pop up in James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2, maybe do something to wrap that up later. I don't know. Probably not, but there is that one film left on his contract. He could still pop up somewhere. Oh, we know he's not going to be in Batman. So, yeah, I mean, really, at this point, Dan, I'm not sure how they're going to reconcile the previous films with a younger Batman now, other than to say I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It's the movies. It's the movies about people in spandex with superpowers who fly around and go, save the day. So whether or not this new movie lines up in continuity with the other movies, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. And we'll just see how they handle it. Maybe they'll handle it where it's perfectly connected. Maybe they won't. We'll have to kind of just wait and find out for sure. But hey, look, whatever. Matt Reeves is going to make a really good, enjoyable movie. And right now, as a film fan, that's all I really care about. I wanted to make a really good, enjoyable movie. All right, let's move on to email number 2. And email number 2 today comes to us from Alan Korvar Ubias. I'm probably butchering your name, Alan. Sorry about that. Who writes, big fan. I love the positive community you've built. Well, thanks so much, Alan, and thank you for being a part of that positive community. Thank you. So, I'm an old WWE, in brackets, WWF fan. I've been obsessed with this trailer of Fighting with My Family. It does look really clever, doesn't it? It did the job of a trailer. I didn't know about the movie, but now I do, and I'm excited. My question is, Sir Campea, will Paige's personal videotapes cause any issues for the movie? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Alan. And you know what? I do not blame you for asking. It's a question. I get it. There's this new movie. For those of you who don't know, there's this new movie coming out called Fighting with My Family. You may have seen Dwayne Johnson in the trailers because it's based on a true story of this young WWE superstar, Paige, and how she came from this family that loved wrestling and pursued her dream and became a WWE superstar. And, you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in it playing himself. They just premiered it at Sundance, all that kind of stuff. The thing is, Paige, a while ago, had what Alan is calling personal videotapes that got leaked and got put online. They're sex tapes. They got leaked and got put online. And I know, there have been some questions like, can you even? I remember even when they're talking about doing this movie, and it might have been after the movie was finished, but the question is, can you even do it out with this controversy with her having these sex tapes out and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's kind of freaking out. And again, Alan, I completely understand why you would ask. I mean, sure. I mean, we got this movie come out. Is this something that could hurt it? Now, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't care if my opinion offends you, but I certainly am not going out of my way to offend you. So let me give you my opinion on this, and you can take it and do with it what you want. Paige, which is not her real name, but Paige, newsflash, everybody, she likes sex. Newsflash number 2, everybody, you like sex. I like sex. Newsflash number 3, everybody likes sex. Can we just put on our big boy pants here for a second? Let's take off our 12-year-old, which are normally, I admit, the pants that I'm wearing. I'm usually wearing my 12-year-old pants, I admit, yes. But for a second, let's just calm our heads prevail. Let's put on our big boy pants for a second and talk as some adults here, okay? Every frickin' buddy loves sex, okay? Everybody does. We all have sex. We all enjoy it. Oberyn from Game of Thrones would even suggest the whole point of life is to have sex, as much sex as you can, as long as you can. That's the point of life. If you look at the way we are built genetically, how we are designed and engineered as human beings, we are built for sex. That's what it's all about. All right? And guess what? She's human too. She liked having sex. And a lot of us like filming ourselves doing things we love. Whether it's skiing, we see people, using GoPros to show themselves skateboarding because they love skateboarding. Maybe because they want to show it to the world. Maybe because they just want to watch it themselves later. Sometimes people record themselves having personal, intimate times. Whatever. Who cares? Why is that a big deal? It shouldn't be. Then some dickhole steals her videos that are meant for personal stuff and releases it to the world. And somehow that is supposed to look bad on her? It shouldn't. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There are 2 answers to your question, Alan. Will it affect her movie? I honestly don't think so. Will some people try to make this an issue? Yes, I'm sure there are. Are there going to be some people that try to shame her for being a normal human being that likes having sex, and maybe she wants to record it for herself and her partner to watch later? Whatever. Fine. But you shouldn't. You should not have a problem with this. The only thing we should have any problem with is that some dickhole stole her personal stuff and released it to the world in an attempt to shame her. And you and I need to be big boys and not allow this to shame her. Hey, is it a little embarrassing? Sure. Guess what? I sing in the shower sometimes. And if I filmed myself and it got out on the internet, I'd be a little embarrassed. Even though I have nothing to be embarrassed about, yes, it would be a little bit embarrassing. Is she a little bit embarrassed by this? I'm sure she is. But it shouldn't be a problem. And I think for the most part, it's not going to be a problem for her movie whatsoever. And it shouldn't be a problem for her movie whatsoever. And if you have a problem with it, I'm sorry, but my opinion is you're the one with the problem. You're the one with the problem if you've got an issue with this. That's my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if my opinion offends you, so be it. So, will it have a big effect? I don't think it's going to have a big effect. Will it have a minor effect? I'm sure there are some people that is going to ruffle their feathers the wrong way, even though they shouldn't. But I just want to call on my fellow film fans to say, hey, we like to act goofy and all that kind of stuff, and I agree. But just for a minute, let's put on the big boy pants and go, hey, she's an adult. She likes having sex. We all like having sex. She liked to film herself doing it for fun. So be it. There's nothing here for her to be ashamed of. There's nothing here that should allow any of us to, in any sort of a detriment, look negatively on her film because of it. Now, if you think the movie looks stupid, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. If you think this movie looks like garbage, that's cool. That's your opinion. Everything, that's cool. Maybe it is garbage. I don't know. I just don't think that's something she did in her personal life that was never meant for anybody else to see, and some dickhole steals it and releases it to the world. I don't think we should allow, as film fans, we should not allow that to deter us from her movie in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, that's just how I feel. That's my opinion. Maybe you disagree, and that's cool if you do, but hey, that's what it is. All right, let's move on now. Let's take off the big boy pants and put back on her 12-year-old pants. Let's do that because that's more fun. All right, the next email today comes to us from Bennett Hardy, who writes, hey, John and crew. Sad to see Alita is not getting the best reviews. I wasn't looking forward to it, but I knew you were. Your thoughts? Yeah. So, okay. Look, and who knows? Maybe I'll like it still. It does, just because other people aren't, there are some other people that aren't liking it, doesn't mean I won't like it. I haven't seen it yet, so that's fine. You guys know I've kind of been looking forward to Alita Battle Angel. I didn't think the movie sounded any good because it's not James Cameron directing it. It's Robert Rodriguez, who has made some great films, but has not made anything really good in a long time. I hated the first trailer. The remaining trailers that have come out since I've really liked. And I've gotten excited for this movie. The first reviews are now coming online, though, and they're not all that positive. Last time I checked, which was just earlier this morning, the film had a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think, which is not the worst, that's not the worst score. That means roughly 4 out of every 10 critics enjoy it, so it's not the worst score. Almost half. Not quite half, but, almost half the critics like it, so that's fine, whatever. What was most alarming to me, as I went through the critics that were there, there's a number of critics that I really identify with and I really respect who are kind of beating up this movie. Like, for instance, Dan Merle. Who I think is a terrific film reviewer. I don't always agree with his opinion, but I think he's a terrific film reviewer. Dan Merle took this movie to town. Did not like this movie. There were a number of other ones that it's not so much it had 39%, it's the ones that didn't like it that really concerned me. So I'm not sure how I feel at this point. Now remember, just a little while ago, there was this little movie called Venom. Remember that? And a number of critics liked it, but a bunch of them didn't. And so we didn't know what to think. And then I went in and I really enjoyed it. Yay. And maybe we'll go into Alita Battle Angel and we'll really like it. Yay. But I'm not going to lie. After seeing the recent trailers, I was hoping that when the first reviews were coming out, surely this isn't a movie that would be for everybody, but I was hoping to see a high 70s, maybe low 80s number for it. So my enthusiasm for this movie has taken a little bit of a hit. I'm still going to see it. I'm not going to let it deter me from seeing it, but I will admit that not just the low critic rating, but also which critics that I really kind of like and respect are saying bad things about this movie. That's got me a little bit nervous. And there's nothing worse than, as a film fan, looking forward to a movie and then hearing other people whose opinions you kind of identify with and respect coming back to you and saying, yeah, I saw it and I didn't like it. It's like, oh, that takes a little bit of wind out of your sails. Again, I still want to see it, so I'm still going to see it, just like I did with Venom, and I'll give my own opinion on it. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. It stung seeing that because I've been excited about this movie, but let's see how it turns out. All right, let's move on now to the final email of the day. And the final email today comes to us from our friend Alita Quiroz, who writes, "Hi, John. So I was listening to you guys talk about the DC movies that have been confirmed until 2021, and that make me remember Ezra Miller, who has been cast in the role of Flash since 2014, and yet there was no mention of the Flash movie. By the way, there was no mention of a Cyborg movie either, which was also supposed to be out by now. Anyway, do you think they will include his character in one of the movies scheduled, or is he in Henry Cavill territory? While not out of DC/Warner Brothers, they have no plans for the near future." All right, thanks a lot for the question, Lida. And yeah, so yesterday was a big news day for the DCEU in that we got like 3 movie launch dates announced. I mean, we already know about Birds of Prey, but then they announced finally a release date for The Batman, which is going to be June 2021. They announced Suicide Squad. It's not Suicide Squad 2, it's The Suicide Squad. It's kind of a retooling that James Gunn is directing. That's coming out, I believe, in August of 2021. And they even announced a Super Pets movie with Crypto, Ace the Bat Hound, and what is this, Sparky or Streaky? Yeah, Streaky, Supergirl's cat. They even announced that. They could announce a Super Pets movie. They can do a Super Pets movie, but we can't get Henry Cavill as Superman again. Hey, man, the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is going to make these studios scramble to go, ooh, we can do animated films too. Yeah. Okay, well, might be a good thing. That may be a very good thing. But it really makes noticeable by its absence the fact that the Flash movie, which originally was supposed to be said to be in theaters by the end of 2018, and then they said, okay, it'll be in production by mid-2018, and then they said, okay, now it'll be in production in early 2019. Now it's just nothing. They've had 3 different sets of writers, 3 different sets of directors. They right now, theoretically speaking, they have the guys who directed Game Night directing it, and I thought Game Night was great. I loved Game Night. But they also directed that awful Vacation movie with Ed Helms. Oh my God, that movie was terrible. Anyway, but they did Game Night, and I like Game Night a lot. So theoretically, they're supposed to be directing it, but I don't even know if they're still on board to direct or not. And The Flash and Cyborg, as more official announcements come out, just seems to be getting ignored more and more and more and kind of swept away. Now, look, I am not saying that the Flash movie is one of the casualties of the Walter Hamada overhaul of the DCU. I'm not saying it's one of the casualties. I'm simply saying, as a fan who is just sitting here looking at all the news that's coming out and speculating, as a fan, I got to tell you, I've got to wonder, and I've been wondering about the Flash film for a while. And I'll tell you what, with no apologies, I really like Ezra Miller as Flash. I know there are people who had issues with Ezra Miller's Flash. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to tell you my opinion. I liked the Ezra Miller Flash. I thought he was one of the high points of the of Justice League, and I like Justice League overall, but I know a lot of people didn't. That's fine. But I like the Ezra Miller Flash. I like the way they approached him. I like the way Miller portrayed him. And I'll be honest with you, I have been looking forward to a Flash movie. But I just got to say, as a film fan, it's not looking good. Look, I'm not saying I have any insider information here that I've heard the Flash. No, none of that. I'm just saying, as a fan, I'm sitting here speculating, and I cannot help but doubt it. I am starting to doubt that this Flash movie is going to happen at all. I'm certainly doubting that the Cyborg movie is going to happen, and I think everybody's just assuming at this point Cyborg's done. That's not going to happen. So I don't know. I mean, really at this point, guys, your guess on what the fate of Flash is as good as mine. To me, it's starting to look like maybe it's done. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get an announcement tomorrow that Flash is going to come out in 2020, which would be great. I'd be happy. But I don't know. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. Do me a favor, guys. Jump into the comment section. Do you think this Flash movie is actually going to happen at this point? Because now we just had all these announcements of all these other official movies happening. Batman's got a release date, Suicide Squad 2, Harley Quinn's got its date. We even got the Super Pets, and still nothing on The Flash, which was supposed to be in theaters already, going back to the original plans. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and share them with the world. All right. That will do it, guys, for the email segment here of the John Campea Show. But as I like to do, we like to take a little time and save time here for our live questions. So let's not waste any time. Jump on over and start taking our live questions. And we're going to start the live questions segment with Shaw. Oh, Shaw from Hobbs and Shaw. That trailer was on fire just like Han. Bravo, sir. That trailer was on fire just like Han. Well done, Shaw. You're a hero to us all. George Costanza says, Serenity now! One of the great George Costanza moments in Seinfeld. Syrian Douglas writes, OAT Hollywood. Guys, okay, I get it. Please don't use abbreviations. Please write out the name of a movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One of the best cast lineups ever. Well, I feel like we say that a lot. This certainly has to be in the conversation. Robert De Niro, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and another of other big names. It's a hell of a cast. It's a hell of a cast. One of the best ever? I don't know. It's certainly a great one, but we'd have to sit down and come up with other films that have had like ridiculously stacked casts and kind of compare them. But I'll just say for now, it is one hell of a cast. All right. Kyle Massero writes, Charlie Kaufman is a writer on Chaos Walking. Yeah, he wrote the screenplay. Charlie Kaufman, for those of you going, why does that name sound familiar? He also wrote the screenplay for, Something Beautiful Mind. Oh, why am I freezing on the Jim Carrey? Why am I freezing on the Jim Carrey title? That's one of the great. Hold on a second. Now I got to look it up here. It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Eternal Sunshine of the Spot. Why was I freezing on that? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He was the screenwriter on that. I believe he was also. I think he was the screenwriter on Being John Malkovich, which I was not a big fan of, but I know a lot of people love that movie. And I'm hearing this movie's a disaster. It's an absolute train wreck. That the studio doesn't even know what to do with it now and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, look, that just goes to show you, even the best people can have a bad day. So yeah, but it is an interesting point that Charlie Kaufman, the guy from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is the guy who wrote it. All right, let's see. Where we go. Just Too Tasty Good writes, bigger Best Supporting Actor snub. 2018's Michael B. Jordan for Black Panther or 2017's Patrick Stewart for Logan. Oh, I'm easily going to go Patrick Stewart for Logan. Easily. I love Michael B. Jordan's performance as Killmonger. I was totally good if he got a nomination. I wouldn't have been surprised if he had gotten a nomination. I wouldn't have been surprised. But no. Doesn't hold a candle. I don't even consider it a snub. Because to me, you got to be able to pose an argument that maybe he could have even won that. And he had no chance of winning that. So I'm okay that he didn't get nominated. However, Sir Patrick Stewart, I think you can make an argument he maybe, not definitely, but maybe could have won that award in 2017. And I definitely believe that was the bigger snub. So to me, no question, the bigger snub was Sir Patrick Stewart for that. Amin writes, if the Ancient One couldn't see past her death, how was Doctor Strange able to see the one possibility where they win in Infinity War? Because, now correct me if I'm wrong, my initial, without thinking about it, okay, so don't hold anything against me, without thinking about it, he was specifically using the Eye of Agamotto to do it. It wasn't a spell that he was looking, so I don't know, maybe it was a ring of, or an Eye of Agamotto thing, maybe it was that he wasn't looking for his specific death, but rather looking at various outcomes of different scenarios. You know, so she always said she couldn't see that point. But I'm sure if she was looking at various outcomes, that there could have been many different ways that she could have died. So my guess is it has something to do with the Eye of Agamotto, but I don't know that for sure. Don't hold that against me. Sharan Aurora writes, saw Mandy last night. WTF was that? And that's the reaction Sharam that a lot of people have in it. If you don't know the one it's talking about, it's Nicolas Cage film. Check it out. Tyler Yeats writes, best coming-of-age movie, Dazed and Confused, American Pie, or Superbad? The answer is none. It's Stand By Me is the best coming-of-age movie. I like Dazed and Confused. I got to admit, I'm not a big American Pie guy. I know American Pie is kind of considered a classic these days and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying American Pie has never really been for me. I certainly do like Superbad a lot. I like Superbad a lot, but really the true answer, best coming-of-age movie? Stand By Me. Chris Warden writes, just started season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, and I'm loving it. It's also got some of the best production quality I've ever seen in a sci-fi TV show. I'll go one step further, Chris. It is the best production value I've ever seen in a television show, particularly like a sci-fi show. I am loving Star Trek Discovery. And, you know, it is one of those things that I trash-talked Star Trek Discovery for a year before it ever came out. Like, this is a stupid idea, and putting on CBLSX is dumb, and I heard, you know, about some of the behind-the-scenes drama. And then I watch a series, and I'm like, you know, screw that. I love this. This is great. It's great. And I know there are people who don't like it, and that's cool. I know my good friend Robert Meyer Burnett, who's a big Star Trek fan, doesn't like it, and that's cool. I think it's great. I don't think it's good. I think it's great. And certainly the production value is one of the elements that is certainly, but I remember watching the first episode, the premiere episode, and being just floored by the production. I mean, it was really, we hear sometimes people say that show had movie production value. And that's a little bit of hyperbole, but yeah, this is a show that really had movie quality visual effects. Not always the best, but there's a production level to that thing that's just crazy. But anyway, all that's pointless if it's not compelling, and I think it's compelling. I think it's got great characters. I think it's very unique and distinct from other Star Trek incarnations while still truly being Star Trek. I love that show, man. I love it. I think it's great. Robert Johnson writes, Fast and Furious has superpowers now. Yep. How long before Universal makes the Fast and Furious / Jurassic Park crossover? Bring in the Universal monsters. You know what, man? I would, at this point, I'm just not going to be surprised if Dominic Toretto at some point is fighting Dracula. They're all Universal properties. There you go. Fast and Furious 9 is going to be Dominic Toretto fighting Dracula. And easily winning, by the way. He'll easily win. No doubt he will easily win because, you know, family. He'll win. He'll just win. It'll just be that easy. Let's see. Mr. Hank Dunn writes, I can't stand people who are intolerant and the Dutch. Well, actually, the full quote, there are two things I can't stand in this world. That's a terrible Michael, I was about to say Michael Keaton, not Michael Keaton, Michael Caine. That's a terrible Michael Caine impersonation, whatever. The two things in this world I cannot stand. Those who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. One of the greatest comedy lines of all time from Goldmember, from the Mike Myers Goldmember. Michael Caine playing his father. There are two things in this world I cannot stand. Those who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. Love it. Absolutely love it. Ben Hayusa writes, I find it obvious and funny. People are complaining, this is nothing like Fast and the Furious. Well, duh, who cares? The Rock and Statham in a movie together. Just count me in. Yeah, and look, the Fast and the Furious movies, as I said earlier, have evolved. And they've evolved for the better. You know, they were this cheap, you know, Point Break ripoff thing with really no character to it and just about racing cars in the streets. And then they embraced this, they went in this ridiculous balls to the wall kind of, you know, crazy, just film entertainment kind of direction. And they did it really well. Like I said, they kind of started to lean towards that with Fast 4, but then Fast 5 with The Rock coming in, that's when they blew the doors off. And they just embraced the ludicrousness of it all and made it really fun. And now we have guys with superpowers. So, I mean, look, and I never even liked those original Fast and Furious movies. So I'm the wrong guy to ask, I guess. But the movies have evolved. They're different from what they used to be. And in my opinion, at any rate, they've evolved for the better. Now, you may disagree, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, to me, they've evolved, and they've evolved for the much better. All right, Luke1234 writes, one of the great parts of Predator 2 is the trophy room scene. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not a big Predator 2 guy, but that is a cool scene. The trophy room scene, which showed a variety of alien skulls. I want to see that movie. I'm tired of humans. The problem is there's not a lot of other people who do. And that's the problem. When it really comes down to it, the average movie-going audience wants to see people. And that's one of the struggles that they've always had. Like, there have been a bunch of hardcore fans that, like, give us a Transformers movie that's just all on Cybertron and just all Transformers. Well, that'll please a segment of the audience. It'll please a segment of the audience, but including me, I'm in that segment there. But we are that segment compared to the average movie-going audience. And the fact of the matter is, the average movie-going audience wants more human connection, for the most part. Now, there are exceptions, but the exception just proves the rule. So, yeah, I mean, that would be... And actually, right now, the Predator IP and the Alien IP have been run through the mud so much, I think you're going to have a hard time doing anything with those IPs for the foreseeable future. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Man, that Predator movie that Shane Black did, one of the biggest disappointments I've had in the theaters in a long time. I was so excited for that damn movie, and it just sucked. Anyway, Stubble McShave writes, so, have you seen Stan and Ollie yet? Nope, still haven't seen Stan and Ollie yet. Dr. Panders writes, the Hobbs and Shaw trailer was insanely fun. I agree. Loved every minute. The Rock and Statham's chemistry, just those 3 minutes was incredible. And the badass that is Idris Elba, come on, cannot wait for this movie. It was, I'll tell you what, Dr. Panders, it was everything I was hoping it would be. And they did it exactly right. They didn't try to pretend it was too serious. It was clearly a trailer that was not taking itself seriously. They created a structure of, these are the boundaries of the ridiculousness of our premise, and we're not going to go outside of those boundaries. Like, there's a certain level of ridiculousness and suspensions of disbelief that we're going to ask the audience for, but we're not going to go way beyond that. We're not going to go too low. Like, a box of cereal is not going to start talking to the Rock. Hey, Rock, I'll help you take down Idris Elba. That was more Mickey Mouse. But anyway, a box of Cheerios is not going to, like, so they've set a level of ridiculousness, and they're taking it to that level without exceeding that level. It just worked for me, man. It just worked for me. And look, I know it's a trailer. It won't necessarily work for everybody, and that's cool. There are going to be people who look at this trailer and go, that just looked dumb. And I get it. I get it if that's what you see when you look at that trailer. You're not going to get any argument from me. I'm just saying it looked like a load of fun to me, and man, I cannot wait to see this movie. I cannot wait to see this movie. Anyway, Taki75 writes, best at one-liners, Humphrey Bogart, Clint Eastwood, or, it's Arnold. Like, obviously, Arnold is not Humphrey Bogart, and Arnold will never be the actor that Clint Eastwood is. That's fine. But Arnold's one-liners, I mean, it's not just the lines that he was given. It's the way in which he delivered them that were glorious. He even made the horrible dialogue he had in Batman and Robin things we still like to repeat today. You know, that's some ice. I mean, Arnold is the king of the one-liners. End of story, in my opinion, at any rate. All right, Spencer Main writes, hashtag Justice for Han and hashtag Han had it coming is my favorite new running joke in this show. And Han did have it coming. But again, it is one of those things that I lovingly say to my friends who are fans of the Han character, get over it. It's kind of likened unto the, wait a minute, Liev Schreiber isn't Sabretooth. Taylor Maine's Sabretooth. What's go? Get over it. Just accept it and move on. And just enjoy the movie. Han is not a real person. Han is a fictitious character made up and a character of make-believe in a movie. And for their narrative, they had him get killed as a thing of revenge from this character whose brother was nearly killed by that group. So he took revenge by killing that one character. Another make-believe character killed another make-believe character. And now their narrative has it where these make-believe characters have to kind of team up. So get over it. All right? This isn't Wuthering Heights. All right? This isn't Julius Caesar. This isn't an autobiography. These are made-up characters, completely pretend world. that one thing happened because they wanted it to happen in their narrative, and now something that's off the beaten path, now the bad guy and the good guy are teaming up. That's just part of the narrative. To get terribly upset over what's happening to a pretend character as a result, I don't know. Get over it. Now, one could fairly then say, I see a difference, and maybe I need to justify the difference. One could fairly say back to me right now, well, John, what about Superman and how he's treated in the Supergirl show? Shouldn't you just get over it? Hey, man, you'd be totally fair to say that. You'd be 100%. If you were having a debate with me and hear me and you wanted justice for Han and you heard me saying, guys, it's a fake made up character. They had a certain thing happen to the narrative and now they're moving in a different direction with the narrative and they want these guys to team up. Just get over it. A wise thing to do would be to come back at me and go, well, John, what about Superman? Should you just get over it? And you would be totally right to do that. What I would suggest is a big significant difference between the situations with Han and Superman in like Supergirl is the fact that who's Han Soul? Who's Han Soul? Who is he? Superman is the granddaddy and father of all superheroes. If there is a Mount Rushmore of superheroes, there's one head sticking above them all, and that's Superman. He is the quintessential superhero, without whom none of these other superhero movies would exist today. None of them would, if it weren't for Superman. For you to take the granddaddy of all superheroes, the ultimate, the model, the template of what a superhero is, and that character is responsible for the very fact that we had a successful comic book industry and thus a successful comic book movie industry at all. And you all owe it to that character. And then you mistreat that character. I believe that's a different story. I believe that makes that situation fundamentally different from Han, who is a throwaway temporary character, a throwaway temporary fourth level character. It's not a Daum and Rock level character. It's not a Paul Walker level character. It's not even the next level down of a ludicrous Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese level character. It's down further than that. It's a tri-level character, throwaway character that Fast and Furious would still be here and completely successful without him. So I believe that makes the situations different. Maybe you agree and maybe you disagree. That's the fun thing about entertainment, man, and why we love to have these debates. Okay. Anyway, Nathan Oswald writes, would you consider Fast 4, 5, and 6 one of the best trilogies ever? Nah, I mean, look, they're... hashtag Hannah's the best, writes Nathan. No. Look, I love 5 and 6. I don't love 4, but 4 was the first one that made me go, oh, that movie wasn't bad. It's the first Fast and Furious movie. When Fast 4 came out, it became my favorite Fast and Furious movie because I did not like 1, 2, or 3. But it's not great. It's not great. And 5 and 6 just became ludicrous and ridiculous. Very fun entertainment, but would I ever say they ever belong in any kind of a best trilogy conversation? I wouldn't think so, but that's just my opinion. All right, Watcher X writes, binging Batman animated series, Mark Hamill is just incredible. Damn right he is. Where would you rank his Joker among the others? After Ledger, I am torn on Leto and Mark. Well, first of all, I don't even think there's a definitive argument to say that that Heath Ledger's is the best. There's still a lot of people today and make a damn good argument that Jax is the best. That Jax is the best. This town needs an enema. There are a lot of people who believe that Jax may still be the best. I personally maybe lean towards Heath Ledger's, but I mean, don't forget Jax. I'll be honest with you, I put, as great as Mark was as the voice of the Joker, I still put Heath's, Jax, and Jared's all above it. I put them all above it. It was a Joker that was friendly to a kid's cartoon show. Not that all cartoons are for kids, but the Batman animated series was great, and I enjoyed it greatly. but it was a very toned down thing of Batman. It was meant to also appeal to kids and children, and that's fine. So I loved what Mark did as the voice actor of the character, but it was a very cartoony Joker. It was a very cartoony Joker. So if you're going to get into a discussion with me about, is Mark's Joker great? Damn right he's great. Can you compare them to Jack's Joker and, Heath's Joker and Jared? I don't think so. So I wouldn't even put them in the comparison. I wouldn't even say that those are even a comparison you should even make. Because to me, it's apples to oranges a little bit. All right. Taki75 writes, sexy is Zhang Ziyi, or Ziyi Zhang, as she is sometimes referred to, or Lucy Liu. Ooh, that's tough. Ooh, I'm going to... Yeah. There's a 22-year-old John Campea that would give a digit off of one of his fingers, pick a finger and cut it off if I can get, a Saturday night date with either one of those two. My goodness. I mean, those are two of the most, male or female, those are two of the most beautiful creatures, male or female, to ever walk the face of the earth. So that's tough. I'm going to lean towards Zhang Ziyi. Oh, God, these are just too ridiculous. It's almost unfair how attractive both of these people are. All right, Mike Zambrano writes, goodbye, Vin Diesel franchise. Hello, Rock franchise. Love the trailer. I gave up on Fast and Furious 8, but hell yeah. Yeah, Fast and Furious 8 wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. I still liked it, and I got a kick out of it, but it wasn't the best, and that's fine. I am going to be curious to see. I will admit, I am going to be curious to see. Just for the hell of it, let me bring up this graphic and see if I still got it. I do still have it. Let me just bring up this graphic for fun, and give me a second here to do this right. Whatever. I'll just bring it up. Okay. This graphic is a graphic that I brought up that I think is really, really telling about the Rock effect on Fast. We talked about this on the John Campea Show yesterday. Fast and Furious 1 through 4, no Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And they all averaged around $250 million. You had $207 million, $236, $158, $363. Okay, great. Then just 2 or 3 years later, comes Fast 5, and now Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, you had 4 movies of Fast and Furious without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, all middled around $250 million on average. All of a sudden, Fast 5 comes out, and Fast 5 almost makes as much money in one film as the previous 4 did put together. Not quite, but almost. Made $626 million. Fast 6 even more, $788, then $1.5 billion, and then Fast 8, which wasn't the best, goes down to $1.2 billion. I gotta say, I am curious to see what will Fast 9... Now, we now know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not going to be in Fast 9. So, I got to say, I'm a little bit curious to see what will Fast and Furious look like. What will its box office look like now that it's not going to have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it? Will it still be a $1 billion film? Will it still be a $900 million film? Or will we see a significant drop? Will it go from 1.5, 1.2 down to $700 million without him all of a sudden? I don't know. Maybe it'll be the most successful ever. Maybe it'll take a bit of a drop, but it's going to be interesting to see. I am curious about that. Okay, let's move on here. The next one comes to us from Nathan Oswald, who writes, 2 insulting movies to me, Vacation 2015. I was just talking about that a little bit earlier, Nathan. And Die Hard 5. You know what? Okay, I'll say this. Die Hard 5 was not good. But it had moments. To me, Vacation didn't even have any moments. No. I take that back too. Vacation had a couple of, particularly with Chris Hemsworth, there were a couple of moments in Vacation. But I thought Die Hard 5 had a few more moments. Not good. It's a bad film. They're both bad films. I'll say Die Hard 5 to me wasn't insulting. It's bad. But I wouldn't say it's so bad that it's insulting. But those, Nathan, no doubt, are 2 bad films. All right, Godzilla Love Campea writes, LA Lakers need LeBron James, Davis, and Godzilla to beat the Golden State Warriors. Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Let's put it this way. By the way, Lakers, what were they? 9 games over 500. Then they go without LeBron James, and what they were like 7 games under 500 without LeBron James. You want to talk about the only stat that matters when you're talking about who's the most valuable player in the league? That's it. With him, 9 games over 500. Without him, like 7 games under 500. That's the only stat you need when talking about who's the MVP of your league. But anyway, whatever. The Lakers, as they exist now, can't beat the Warriors. I don't know that there's any team in the league that can beat the Warriors. I don't think the Houston Rockets can beat the Warriors, although they did come close last year. But I don't think you necessarily have to get Davis. There's also some talk of, Greek Freak maybe, whatever. I mean, I think you need new pieces. The LA Lakers are not good enough, even with LeBron James, to beat. I mean, look, the entire starting lineup of the Golden State Warriors are 2 Hall of Famers and 3 All-Stars. You're out of your 5 starting lineup, you've got 2 Hall of Famers, and the other 3 are all perennial All-Stars. That's your starting 5 for the Golden State Warriors. LA Lakers, LeBron James. And it's just like it was back in Cleveland. It was LeBron James taking them on basically by himself. At least in the first year, they did it without, why am I freezing on the dude's name who's now in Boston? Kyrie Irving. He did it with Kyrie Irving, but then he went to the finals without Kyrie Irving and had to fight him like literally all by himself. It was him and like 7 other tin cans. But anyway, I think they could beat the Warriors if they retooled, and they wouldn't even necessarily need a Davis, but if they did, it would be pretty exciting stuff. All right. Bruce Gordon writes, Brixton versus Daum, who would win? Oh, if Vin Diesel, of course, Brixton is the super-powered Idris Elba character. If Vin Diesel's the producer of that movie, Daum wins. Daum wins in a straight hand fight. He wins. Doesn't matter that Idris Elba is super powered. Dominic Toretto would walk into a ring just bare fists and he would beat him because he is the biggest Mary Sue ever in the history of film. And I still love watching him. And I love Vin Diesel playing that character. But let's be honest, it's the biggest Mary Sue character in the history of film. Patrick Conway writes, remember when Fast and Furious were just street racing? Yeah, and thank God those days are over because those movies weren't very good. In my opinion, at least anyway, Patrick, in my opinion. They've become much more entertaining than they were before. DC Patience writes, I like ketchup on eggs, pineapple on pizza, oh my God, and watch spoiler reviews for Infinity War before seeing the movie. Which is worse? Come at me, bro. First of all, yes, pineapple on pizza is disgusting. Watching spoiler reviews before a movie come out, hey, if that tickles you, by all means. Just don't share the information with other people, and I got no problem. You like watching spoiler reviews before watching a movie? That's all. If you enjoy that, no problem with that. I got no issue with that. Just don't share the information around. I will never, ever understand the disgustingness, nay, the abomination, the crime against nature itself of putting ketchup on eggs. I'll never get it. I'll never get it. And I'm going to judge you as a person. I'll be sitting in a Denny's or something. I see somebody pull out ketchup, put on their eggs, and I just sit there and I judge them. I just look at them and I judge them. You are a bad person. And I judge them. I judge them for it. If you put eggs in your eggs, you put eggs on your eggs, you put ketchup on your eggs, I am judging you. Right now, today, I said, who appointed you judge? God. God appointed me judge of you and your abomination of ketchup on your eggs. I don't get it, man. I do not get it. Ketchup on eggs, I'll never get it. And hey, look, I fully support you and your food consumption choices. And if you want to put ketchup on your eggs, that's cool. But I'm just, oh my God, I'll never get that. I'll never get it. So to me, DC, that's the worst. You know how there's some you put on video, like if it's a real video and somebody gets like their finger snapped, like you can't watch, like you shiver and you turn away from it, you can't watch it. I cannot even look at somebody putting ketchup on eggs. I can't do it. It's just, anyway, it's a weird thing about me. It's a weird thing about me. Okay. Now I'm the same guy who as a teenager, I used to make peanut butter, and mayonnaise sandwiches. Pot, meat, kettle, right here. I used to make peanut butter, and mayonnaise sandwiches. Yep. So who am I to judge? All right. SB53 referee John Perry writes, hey, John, will we need payment? We will need payment before the game. Here's the funny thing about people who complain about refs. The only reason that New England Patriot Kansas City Chiefs game even went to overtime is because in the Kansas City Chiefs last drive, the refs gave them like 4 calls. Like that, the entire Kansas City Chief last drive there that tied up the game, it was just penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty on the New England Patriots. The only reason that game went to overtime is because the refs just called penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty on the Patriots. So don't come at me with any of this refs nonsense, because if it wasn't for the refs, that game wouldn't have even went to overtime. So anyway, that's just my feeling on that. And by the way, I think the Rams are going to win that game. I think the Rams win the Super Bowl. If Brady has time, Brady will take any team in the NFL apart. But unlike the Chargers and unlike the Chiefs, the Rams have these 2 dudes named Donald and Sue on their defensive line. And Donald and Sue are going to get to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not going to have time. And because of that, I think the Rams are going to win. I'm going to be cheering for my Patriots. I'm going to be screaming my guts out cheering for my Patriots. But the reality is, if I'm going to be objective and take my fandom out of it, I think the Rams win that game. Probably, the score changes in my head, but I'm going to go 35-27. I'm going to go 35-27 as the Rams win. All right. I'm upset. What's worse, toys or Rock the Casbah? Toys. Toys is worse. Christopher Benson writes, if this new Suicide Squad does indeed recast and or include new characters, I hope that Viola Davis remains as Amanda Waller. She was great. It really all depends. I mean, right now we don't know what James Gunn has in mind and which direction he's going to go with this. If it is like a reboot, which I don't know if it is, but if it's a reboot, then no, you can't have Viola Davis as Waller. I mean, you could if you want. If it's just a retooling, then you could bring her back. So, I don't know. It really all depends on what his plan is and where he goes. All I know is that I think James Gunn lined up with the Suicide Squad is a great fit. I think that's a magnificent fit, and I cannot wait, Christopher, to see what he does with this. All right. Brandon Entwistle writes, hey, John, do you think Marvel will or should release Avengers 3 before Endgame in theaters in early April? Where'd I go? For free, like Black Panther, to drive up hype? No, I wouldn't. They might do it, but no, I don't think they should. Because that's just going to cost a lot of money. It's just going to cost a lot of money, and I don't see any. And I don't think that's going to get anybody. I don't think it's going to sell one extra ticket to see it. Now, Disney may do it. They may. But I don't think they should. I don't see there's any point to it. Curtis Lopez writes, Pepper, I do anything and everything Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash. Will that be all? Great quote from Pepper. And by the way, the actress that she was talking to, I believe her name's Lizzie Bibb, is married to Sam Rockwell, who later was in the Iron Man franchise himself. Yep. So that woman that Pepper was talking to in that scene, taking out the trash, including taking out the trash, blah, blah, blah. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was Lizzie Bibb, who is married now to Sam Rockwell. Just a little bit of trivia there for you, Curtis, and you're right. That is a great line. Ben Rayner writes, did you see all the DCCW shows got renewed? Any news on Batwoman? Would you still watch it if they made it? Yeah, I'm down for watching a Batwoman show. I liked the Elseworlds introduction of Batwoman. I think it was an interesting introduction, and I'd be for it. I haven't heard any new news. I personally, for all I know, they've greenlit it, or for all I know, they've scrapped it, and I just don't know. But yeah, I'm down for that Batwoman show. I am. As long as they don't do to Batman what that Supergirl show has done to Superman. As long as they don't do that, and as long as they don't go, the only way we can make Batwoman look good is if we crap all over, or the only way we can make Batwoman look good is if we crap all over Batman. As long as they don't do that, then I'm totally cool. But yeah, I like the Ruby Rose incarnation, and I think it could be fun to check out. Maybe it would be terrible, but I think it's worth taking a chance on. I'm Upset writes, thoughts on Mordecai with John? Oh, dude, that's just awful. I'm talking about Pepper Potts. You get Gwyneth Paltrow in there as well, but it's It's just terrible. It's not even so bad it's good. It's just so bad you just need to bury it and never speak of it again. It's awful. Murray Reich writes, the whole Dean or Sam being possessed / dying has run its course after 13 and a half seasons already, but thank God for season 15. I don't think so at all. As long as when you do it, you have a take on. Look, the reality is, in that universe, possession and stuff like that is a in and out daily danger that they face. Right? It's like saying of a cop show, this whole thing where the cops get shot at, it's run its course. No, it's a cop show. A regular daily threat they face is being shot at by guns. And I just see that with Supernatural as well. So as long as you bring a unique aspect to it every time, I like it. And I'll tell you what I'm loving. I finally got caught up on Supernatural this season, so I'm all caught up right now. I love what they're doing with Dean and the whole Archangel Michael thing right now, and the way Dean has trapped him. I love it. I'm eating it up. I think it's great. But yes, I'm so happy this thing got renewed for season 15. Absolutely, Murray. All right, Murray follows up with, so John, I can't believe you watched the Manipulating Hobbs and Shaw trailer. Oh my God, did you fall off your chair? Yep, all trailers are corporately produced pieces of mass manipulation meant to trick you into giving them your money. But we do enjoy them, don't we? I loved it. Murray loved it. I just... It was great. I'm not going to say it's, maybe, no, it is. It's the best trailer of the year so far. Because the year is only like 32 days old. I'll say it is the best trailer of the year so far. It will not be the best trailer of the year by summer, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I really, really did. Roman Bryant writes, John, I got it. Introduce Daredevil into a reboot of Trial of the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is going back to the 80s. Daredevil made his first television appearance in the Incredible Hulk mini movie, The Trial of the Incredible Hulk. And I believe in that, John Rhys Davies played Kingpin. The guy who plays Sala in the Indiana Jones movies, and the guy who played Gimli in the Lord of the Rings movies, he played Kingpin, I believe, I remember. And that was the first... Oh, that's a deep cut, Roman. That's a deep cut. All right, Roman follows it up with, every movie should show Han burning in the background. Oh, so satisfying. Hashtag Han had it coming. Every movie. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's not universal or not. Every movie should just show Han burning. That's funny. All right, Curtis Lopez writes, hearts on fire, strong desire, rage. Oh, that's from Rocky. Rage is deep within, hearts on fire, fever's rising. High, the moment of truth draws near. Rocky 4, one of the best soundtracks. It's just, the whole Rocky 4 soundtrack is all just like, Urgh. By the way, the Rocky 3 soundtrack, by the way, with Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, Rocky 3 with Eye of the Tiger, amazing. But yes, the whole soundtrack in Rocky 4 was pretty damn good. And that whole thing playing as Rocky's in Russia, training, getting ready for the fight. Drago! Great moment, Curtis. Great moment. All right. Julius Goodwin writes, will Dr. Voodoo might make an appearance in Doctor Strange 2 or the MCU in the future? In Doctor Strange, the first movie, the sorcerer killed at the New York Sanctum was Daniel Drum, who in the comics is a brother of Dr. Voodoo. Okay, so Dr. Voodoo, who's, by the way, his real name is, well, not real name, but his original name is Brother Voodoo. He's a Haitian master of voodoo from Port-au-Prince. Anyway, in the comics, at some point, he gets possession of the Eye of Agamotto, and he actually becomes, Brother Voodoo becomes the Sorcerer Supreme for a time, and takes on the moniker Dr. Voodoo at that point, but he's known as Brother Voodoo. Anyway, Doctor Strange 2, no, I don't think so. Because in the MCU, he hasn't even really donned the moniker of Sorcerer Supreme yet. So do we start introducing characters that are kind of associated with him giving up the Sorcerer Supreme? I don't know. I'm going to guess not. But in the future, yeah, I could see Brother Voodoo being a character. Maybe not in Doctor Strange 2, but if they do Doctor Strange 3 or 4, I could see them going in that direction. I mean, for all we know, they absolutely will have Brother Voodoo in in Doctor Strange 2. I'm not betting on it. It's possible, though. It's possible. I'm going to guess it's a character that the Doctor Strange character hasn't been around long enough on the movie screen for a little bit more of an advanced character in the lore, like a Brother Voodoo, to come in. So I'm going to guess no for 2, but down the road, I think it's certainly Julius. I certainly think that's a possibility. So good question, man. Good question. All right. Alex Jovetsky writes, saw Alita last night. Amazing CGI, great action scenes, and the world building. Best 3D since Avatar. The writing was weak, but I still want a sequel. 7 out of 10. I don't care about 3D, so I'm not even going to adjust that part. The action, look, in the trailers, the action looks sharp to me, Alex. The action looks sharp. And while I hated the CGI in the first trailer, the CGI, once I got a sense of the style they were going for, the CGI started to grow on me more and more. And I was starting to get into the idea of it. Again, I'm not hearing great things, but I'm glad you saw it, Alex, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I'll be out to see it opening day. I will be out there to see it opening day. All right, Ben Rayner writes, will you do a Game of Thrones after show with Rob if you do? No, I will not be doing one with Rob, but I will be doing a Game of Thrones after show for all 6 episodes. And it's going to be me and Anne and Kaori, who in the past I've done my Game of Thrones stuff with. So it's going to be me and Anne and Kaori. I probably won't be doing it with Rob because going back to the tradition, me, Anne, and Kaori are going to be doing Game of Thrones after show stuff for the new season. So keep your eyes open for that. Nathan Drake just sends in a super chat. Thanks, Nathan. Then follows up with another one who writes, been watching since the AMC Man of Steel days. Thanks, man. And I too think it's a masterpiece. I really like Justice League and Aquaman, but I'll miss Snyder. And thanks to you, I have AMC A-list. Hashtag Shaw was right. Shaw was in the right. There you go. Well, first of all, I mean, Schneider's not gone. Zach's going to be doing that. He's got a zombie. We talked about this on the show the other day. He's doing exactly what he should be doing. He's going back to a genre that he has had real success in, the zombie genre. I mean, he couldn't get a movie picked up with a major studio, but he's doing one with Netflix, which is great, and it's a great place to rebuild everything. And I'm looking forward to it. Zach is not gone. I'll be honest with you. I'm glad he's off the DCU. Look, I love Man of Steel, and I will always owe a debt of gratitude to Zack Snyder for Man of Steel because I love that movie. But the reality is his movies did not work for most people. So I'm glad he departed. For his own good, I'm glad he departed. But like I've been saying for a long time, I've been looking forward to seeing what he does next. It's time for him to get back to just being a filmmaker, separate himself from the DCU. It was an experiment that didn't work, fine. Why more people don't like Man of Steel is completely beyond me because that movie is awesome. Anyway, but he's not gone. He'll put out more films. And I think DC is heading in a new and exciting direction. So I think it's going to work out really well for everybody. I think it's going to work out best. I think it's absolutely the best thing for Zack Snyder that he's no longer on the DCU. I think this is what's best for him. And I think we're going to talk 5 years from now about the 2 or 3 great films Zack Snyder's put out in the last 5 years and say, man, yeah, him leaving and getting away from the DCU was exactly what he needed and exactly what his career needed. And I think he's going to be in a better place for it. So that's just my thought on it at any rate, Nathan. Zaya writes, finally saw The Godfather. Amazing film. Oh, well, first of all, good on you. Everybody needs to see The Godfather. All right. Look, Star Wars to me is the greatest film of all time. But if you were to ask me, what is the one film anyone who calls themselves a film fan has to watch? It's The Godfather. You have to watch The Godfather. There is a strong argument from a lot of people. It's considered the greatest film of all time. But I mean, to me, it's Star Wars, but you know, you got to watch The Godfather because it's also one of the most influential movies of all time. Every director working today has been influenced by The Godfather in one way or the other. So good on you for checking that out. Surratt writes, this doesn't get said enough. Forrest Whitaker is a damn good actor. Oh, you damn Academy Award-winning actor, Forrest Whitaker? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's been in some real crap, particularly that crappy little Netflix show where there's like some kind of mystery apocalypse going on and he's driving across the country to try to save his daughter. That movie was crap. He's been in some bad stuff. But just because he's been in some bad stuff, make no mistake. He's an Academy Award-winning actor. He's an awesome actor. And I love seeing the dude on screen. I just love seeing him on screen. Lies, deceit. I even love him in Rogue One, man. I love him in Rogue One. Okay. Krieger119 writes, Bruh, forget cars. Now we got to upgrade people. Have they jumped the shark? Either way, I'm digging it. Trailer was perfection. Anticipation, 12 out of 10. Dude, I'm telling you, there are two things I've been saying for a long time. There are two things that are absolute certainties are going to happen in the Fast and Furious. Number one, they're going to drag their cars into space at some point. And number two, superpowers are going to become a part of it. And here we are with superpowers, right? Up in the stakes. It's not just some other mean villain who's really good at fighting. No, now it's somebody who is superpowered that they got to fight. You knew that's the way it was going. It is absolutely ridiculous, no doubt about it, but I'm absolutely eating it up nonetheless. And damn, man, I can't wait to see this movie. I still can't wait to see this movie. Jordan Handley writes, Hobbs and Shaw jumped the shark with Idris Elba. Oh, I disagree. And I think you're finding that most people are lapping this up. We're eating this up. I am unashamed to say it. I think this looks awesome. I think it looks like it's going to be a hell of a good time. Oscar nominations? Hell no. But is it going to just be good fun? Yeah, I think this is going to be good fun. I'm excited, especially coming from the director of John Wick. So I think there's a lot of things going for it. R Squared writes, I don't get the big deal with the Killmonger returning Black Panther 2. T'Challa's dad dies in Civil War, but we still saw him in the ancestral planes in part 1. True. And if they do, first of all, remember, I don't think Killmonger can be in the ancestral planes because he was never king. Remember that. He was never king. There are people who called him king, and there are people who acted like he was king, and he thought he was king. But remember, according to the traditions of Wakanda, he only becomes king if T'Challa submits or if he kills T'Challa. T'Challa never submitted. T'Challa was never killed. Therefore, Killmonger was never king. Truly, he thought he was king. Other people thought he was king. He sat in the throne. He acted like he was the king. But by Wakandan rule and law, he never was the king. He never was the king. So never forget that. He was never king. So I don't know that we can see him there. Now look, if he does just pop up and it's a flashback or whatever, okay, fine. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But I got a feeling it's not. And by the way, we don't know for sure. Just because Angela Bassett said he was going to be back, we don't know 100% for sure that means he's coming back. But as Rob and I talked about, I think this is going to have something to do with Avengers Endgame. And we are going to see everybody come back. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Gene Shex writes, saw Can You Ever Forgive Me last night. Really good movie, man. Great film. It fascinates me how a lot of comedians can so deftly adapt to dramatic roles. Look, and it's just one of these things that I like her as a comedic performer. I do. Like when you watch her in, what's the name? Bridesmaids. Or you watch, oh crap, what was that other movie she was in? Hold on a second. What was the name of that other movie she was in? Why can I not find it? I can't find it anywhere. Hold on a second. Melissa McCarthy. Let me just see if I can find her here. Whatever. I've always liked her as a comedic performer. If you had asked me, do I think she'll really be able to pull off a true, dramatic role to the point that she gets an Academy Award nomination? I would have said no. And then she totally surprised us. I mean, and it's just a solid, great movie. And you're absolutely right, Gene. I think part of the thing that made me enjoy the movie as much as I did was how just constantly floored and surprised I was throughout the film with how good she was carrying the material. It was really a pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed that a lot, so good point. All right, Krieger119 writes, seeing Idris in opening shot screams Bond, in my opinion. Well, again, they've already put that to sleep. He's not going to be Bond. I mean, so we can put that to bed and everything, because even he's said, look, I've never talked to anybody about being Bond. I'm not going to be Bond, blah, blah, blah. So we can kind of put that to rest. Anybody in the right clothes, standing the right way, can scream Bond. Anybody can. Did that? Yes, but anybody could. Ab Hisek Das writes, what an amazing trailer. Has there been anything more amazing than Dwayne Statham and Elba, by the way? Yes, Yes, but yeah, man, I just wanted to make sure the trailer, my one apprehension going into the trailer was, please don't take itself too seriously. Please don't take itself too seriously. Please don't take itself too seriously. And they did not take themselves too seriously. They embraced what they were, and that took it over the top for me, man, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. All right, Travis Bickle, the taxi driver, writes, sucks being a Knicks fan. No elite players want to come to New York. Why? Well, I mean, look, there's been an ownership issue there. Nobody really likes the owner. You don't have any kind of solid foundation there at the moment. It's not like you've got a great crop of young players that you can really build around that would attract an existing superstar that would want to go there. But honestly, to me, I think, and I can't back this up, this is just an opinion, I think it's an ownership situation. I don't think a lot of people want to go and play for that owner. It's just a bad environment right now. It's a bad environment, so... You know, where's the Patrick Ewing days, man? I mean, I'll tell you what. You know when they started down this path is when they got Carmelo Anthony. That's just a player you do not want on your team. And they never should have got him. And I remember when he was on the Denver Nuggets, they could never win with him. And then they traded him away. And everybody's like, oh, the Denver Nuggets are done now. And guess what? The Denver Nuggets got better. For a number of years, they just got better. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough... Dude, listen, I'm a long-suffering Toronto Maple Leafs fan, dude. So, I feel you, Travis. I totally feel you. Roman Bryant writes, Elodie Young was a finalist for Wonder Woman. You think she would have been great? I mean, look, I don't know. I don't care. Like, again, guys, don't bother asking me questions. Should X actor have played X role? I mean, as long as she's a decent actor, could she have been great? Sure. But there are 200 actresses that could have been great. So I don't know what you want me to say on that, honestly. All right. Arturo Beltran writes, you pressed record this time. Keep up the good work. Nope, I didn't hit record. I hit the right button. I hit the stream button. Yesterday I was supposed to hit record instead of stream, and I accidentally hit stream when I had nothing to stream to. Today I needed to hit stream, and that's why you're seeing me on. So I haven't hit record today. I just hit stream. Let's see. Static Skywalker writes, hey, John, you just started up my YouTube channel, and want to thank you for being an inspiration. Idris Elba looks so badass. So congratulations. I think more people need to start up YouTube channels. We need more voices in the fan community, so good on you for that. And yes, absolutely, Idris Elba looks badass. And I love that they showed him just kicking Statham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's asses. That's great. And I cannot wait to see how this film climaxes. Very excited for it. All right, Carlos Rojas just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Carlos. Ali Hussein writes, okay, so Fast and Furious is superpowers now. I mean, literally superpowers. Is dumb and ridiculous in a fun way or in a great way? What's next? The going to fight aliens that invade Earth? Oh, I'm telling you, man, at some point they're going to space. I don't know if it's going to be Fast 9. I don't know if it's going to be Fast 10. But I am telling you, at some point they are going to space. Will they ever go so far as to have them fight aliens? I don't think so. But at this point, I would not put anything by them, Allie. I would put nothing by them at this point. So I don't think fighting aliens is in the future. But I wouldn't put it past them. I'm not going to fall out of my chair in shock if it's Fast 9, Fast Alien Ass Kick, or some. I won't fall out of my chair with shock at this point. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but I will not fall out of my chair in pure and absolute shock if that's what happens. Okay, here. Sorry, we took a big jump. Where did we go? Oh, guys, I thought we were almost done, and oh my God, we're only a quarter of the way through all the super chats today. Hold on a second. No, we're not. Wait a second. Where are we? There's Alita. There's Nathan. Okay, we're further ahead than I thought. Okay, there's Allie. Okay. Samir Kotan just sends in super chat. Thank you, Samir. John Early writes, today we heard repeatedly how irrelevant my department has become. Why do we need agents? The 00 section. Isn't it all rather quaint? M. I can't remember which Bond movie that was in. I can't remember. I believe those words were spoken by Dame Judi Dench. I believe she's the one who spoke them, but I cannot remember which movie that was from specifically. Bruce Gordon writes, Cold Pursuit, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Really? Really? Let me look that up here. Hold on a second. Cold Pursuit, Rotten Tomatoes. Because that movie looks awful. That movie looks like all kinds of awful. Dude, you're not wrong. It's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. What? Really? I wasn't even going to go see this movie. Well, Emmy Rosam's in it, so I suppose I should see it. But I had no idea. Really? Hollywood Reporter liked it. AV Club liked it. Variety liked it. Let's see. Slant liked it. Wow. Man, that's the info of the day, Bruce. I wasn't even going to bother seeing this. Maybe I will go see it. Thanks for the info, dude. All right, Samir Kotana writes, hey, John, I came across a video, Kevin Smith, Justice League Into the Snyderverse, in which he claims Snyder's Justice League is 3 parts, and he's seen all 3 storyboards. How legit is that? Oh, I don't know, but we talked about this the other day on the show, about how, they were saying that his plans were for a trilogy, but what we said at the time was, well, duh. I mean, yeah. I mean, we all knew that. We all knew that. We all knew that Snyder had plans for multiple films and was going to do it. Yeah, like, no kidding. We all knew that. Like, sure. There were plans for that. But as Mike Tyson always and once infamously said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And they repeatedly got punched in the mouth. And it's great. Guess what? They had plans for that. What was that? That series of books with the dragon? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, then they did the first movie, and I think it was called Aragon or something. Was that the name of the book? I think it was Aragon. Anyway, they did the first one, and John Malkovich was there. Alpha, and they planned, we're going to do a trilogy, and they ended it on this big cliffhanger. But the movie sucked, and the critics hated it, and the audiences didn't like it, and nobody went to go see it. They got punched in the mouth. They had a plan for a trilogy until they got punched in the mouth. As much as I love Man of Steel, fact of the matter is that was a punch in the mouth to them because half the people didn't even like it. Half the people thought it was a bad movie. I don't understand why, because that movie's freaking brilliant, but half the people hate it. Punch in the mouth. Then they did Batman versus Superman, and it got hammered. Punch in the mouth. So, yeah, it was great. They had all these plans. Sure, we all knew they had plans for multiple films and trilogies and all that kind of stuff. But everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Everybody's got a plan until you put that movie out, the first couple of movies out, and you see how the audience responds to them. And then these big plans, they go out the window. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I totally believe that's all legitimate. But I guess everybody's got a plan. They all have a plan, and then it goes horribly wrong. So to me, that's no news flash. News flash. Zack Snyder had plans for multiple Justice League films. And another news flash. Water wet. I mean, we knew. We all knew. But, yeah, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. And it's too bad, again, because I think the most underrated comic book movie ever is Man of Steel. I think it's the most underrated comic book movie ever. But just my thoughts on that, Samir. Just my thoughts on that. Gene writes, to add to seeing Can You Ever Forgive Me last night, I also watched Miss Bala and Kid Who Would Be King. I haven't watched Miss Bala. I mean, it's getting kind of hammered in the reviews, but I am curious because I like Gina Rodriguez. Kid Who Would Be King is another one. I was supposed to go see it the other night, but then I got talked into seeing Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse again. But I'm hearing good things about The Kid Who Would Be King. I'm hearing good things about that. So, I mean, I know me and Ann want to go see it. Ann and I are going to go to Universal Studios Hollywood tonight. Probably go check out Harry Potter Land. We're season passes. We haven't been in a while. So we're going to do that. And then we may run into the AMC Theater there at Universal City Walk and go watch Kid Who Would Be King because we both want to see it. But I'm hearing decent things. Ali Hussein writes, great news, John. Supernatural has been renewed for season 15. Holy shit, I'm so happy. I'm not surprised. You know what percentage of TV shows make it to 15 seasons? Almost none. You got a little show called The Simpsons. You got a handful of others. But it's like, it has to be less than 1% of television shows ever make it this long. It is crazy how long this show has lasted, and I'm loving every minute of it. Ali follows up, And the rest of your CW shows have also been renewed. Arrow's been renewed. Flash has been renewed. Supergirl's been renewed. Black Lightning's been renewed. So, yeah, man. So it's a good day if you're a CW fan. It is a very good day if you're a CW fan. Surratt writes, once upon a time in Hollywood, looking at the cast, I'm wondering how much of that $100 million budget is left after paying them all. I'm not sure. You know, a lot of times, though, you'll get these actors who will work for less than their regular rate if it's for a movie they really want to be in, or with a director they really want to work with, or if they think it'll get them some Oscar buzz. A lot of times you'll get these actors will take less than their regular pay rate. Look, I'm sure just the salary budget on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a big chunk of that $100 million. I'm sure it's a big chunk. But I'm also pretty sure it's not as big as you might think. Because I bet a lot of these guys, including DiCaprio, who has worked with Tarantino before and got a lot of acclaim for his work with Tarantino, I guarantee you he's not taking his regular rate for this. I'm guaranteeing he's taking less than his regular rate. And I bet you, pardon me, guys, I bet you Margot Robbie is working for less than her regular rate. And I bet you Brad Pitt is working on this film for less than his regular rate. So big chunk of the budget, I'm sure, but probably significantly less than what you and I would probably guess. Wendell Phillips writes, maybe I missed it, but did anyone mention the fact that Zack/Deborah Snyder are producing Suicide Squad with guns still in the DC world? Yes. Well, look, Wendell, he's going to be on as a producer in name only, and his name is going to be attached as a producer for a number of the DC films moving forward because that's the contractual obligations they have moving forward. I absolutely guarantee you Zack and Deborah will have nothing to do with this film. I guarantee you that. There are many, many films Steven Spielberg is attached as a producer, but he really has nothing to do with them. His name is going to be attached on all the movies moving forward, at least for a certain number of them. But I guarantee you, make no mistake, he's going to have absolutely no input on these movies whatsoever. He'll have nothing to do with them. That's just the reality of it. Jacob Cardenas, it's much like how in a lot of these movies, in the MCU movies, Stan Lee is listed as a producer, but he didn't actually do anything in the movie other than showing up to do a cameo. There's a contractual thing. He gets a name as a producer because of something that happened before, but he's not actually doing any producer work on it. And that's also the case with the Snyders moving forward. They got Stone Quarry, their new production company to work on. He's making his own movies. Don't you worry about Zach. Jacob Cardenas writes, odd-looking Cavill and Hobbs movie. Just kidding. Missing Rob, Calvin and Hobbs. I would love a Calvin and Hobbs movie. Look, I get why the rights holder of Calvin Hobbs doesn't want anybody to make a Calvin Hobbs movie, and I respect that. I totally get it. I really do. But I'm not lying to you, man. If they announced tomorrow they were doing a Calvin and Hobbs movie, I would be so freaking happy. I might piss myself. I'd be so happy. All right, T.J. Thomas writes, I am excited. I get to see How to Train Your Dragon 3 tomorrow. Me too. Yeah, tomorrow I'm doing a really neat doubleheader. I'm going to go see the Lego Movie 2 in the morning, and then I'm going to go see How to Train Your Dragon 3 in the afternoon. So tomorrow's going to be a good day for me. I cannot wait to see both of these films. I'm very excited. So hopefully, TJ, you and I will be happy. Hopefully we'll be happy. I'm hearing great things. I believe, let me just double check, but I believe How to Train Your Dragon 3, I believe it is still holding 100%. No, it is no longer 100%. How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, has dropped all the way down to 98%. It now has one negative review. And that negative review came from Peter Bradshaw at The Guardian. And he wrote, all the fire and lifeblood of this idea has been sucked out and we are left with something bland. Well, there you go. One critic has given How to Train Your Dragon 3 a negative review. It is no longer a 100% movie, but I am very excited for it, TJ, as you are. T3 Medius writes, explain on average what studios likely spend on marketing on a $100 to $250 million budget film. Thanks for inspiring me for review movies. It's different every time, but you're probably looking in the $70 to $100 to $150 million. Look, it's not unheard of in this business that they will spend more on marketing than they do in the production. That's why we generally say a general rule of thumb. This is not always the case, but just general rule of thumb. whatever you see the production budget of a movie is, the movie's got to roughly make 3 times that to break even. Because you got to take into consideration the marketing costs, you got to take into consideration the theatrical cut, like the cut of the money that the theaters keep. I mean, so it's roughly about 3 times. But yeah, it's not unheard of to see a movie spend more on its marketing than it did on the movie. And you'll get massive, it's too wide of a range. You'll get a massively different marketing budget for a $100 million movie than you will on a $250 million movie. So you get a massive difference there in that. So, but yeah, it's generally going to be in that ballpark, but really it ranges so widely depending on the film. There's not really a general rule of thumb for that particular thing. It depends from studio to studio and from film to film. Carlos Souza writes, "Hey John, what is your favorite dance/musical film? One of my favorites is Footloose." Well, I mean, Footloose is an all-time great. According to Star-Lord, it's the greatest movie of all time. Is Footloose still the greatest movie of all time? Dude, it never was. Anyway, dance, like, are you saying dance or musical, or are you saying dance musical? Like, it has to be dancing as well. I think my favorite musical of all time is probably Moulin Rouge. And there's a lot of dancing in Moulin Rouge. So, yeah, I'll qualify that. Moulin Rouge. I love Moulin Rouge. That movie is awesome, and it's a visual masterpiece. Like, the visuals, it's so fabulous. If you've not seen Moulin Rouge with Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, check it out. It is freaking awesome. That's my favorite. Roman Bryant writes, "Damn it, John, when are you going to play Spider-Man? I have not played Spider-Man since before Christmas. I kind of got into playing Battlefront a little bit, and I've gotten into recently playing Divinity Original Sin 2. I've been playing a bit of that. But yeah, I got to get back into Spider-Man. Because I do enjoy it. I just haven't touched it since before Christmas, but I got to get back on that. Han Lu writes, "I deserve to die." Oh, is that Hans? Han had it coming, man. Han had it coming. All right, final question of the day. And then we're going to wrap this up, guys, so no more questions. Jordan Handley writes, "Arnie is my favorite actor. True Lies is your favorite action flick. But is it your best Arnie movie? Hasta la vista, John." Oh, well, there are so many good Arnold movies that are so fun to watch. But yes, I will say True Lies is my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I like it more than Conan. I like it more than Terminator. I like it more than, I don't know, Twins. I like it more than any Hercules movie. I like it more than Red Sonja. I like it more than, I mean, yes, True Lies is my all-time favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I love that movie, man. It's just absolutely breathtakingly good. All right, I will take this last one because Gene just slipped it in as I was saying no more. Gene writes, "Won't happen, but I'd love to see a crossover between Bad Boys and Rush Hour." You're right. That would never, I'll be honest with you, Gene. I got no interest in that. I have no interest in that myself personally. But man, talking about Zhang Ziyi, I loved Rush Hour 2. I loved Rush Hour 2. Rush Hour 3 sucked. Rush Hour 1 was okay. Rush Hour 2 was awesome, though. And they're making a new Bad Boys, but yeah, I don't think you'd see a lot of interest in that movie, and I wouldn't want to see it. But hey, you would, and hey, that's all that counts, man. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thanks so much for joining me on this Friday afternoon. This has been a lot of fun. Don't forget, guys, we're going to have an open mic tomorrow afternoon. We've been doing open mics on the weekends. They've been going rather long, but we're going to do an open mic tomorrow on the weekend. So I'm not going to have an open mic on Sunday because it is Super Bowl Sunday, so there's that. Then Robert and I will be back again on Monday for the John Campea Show. Don't forget, guys, we're going to have a companion video. Hopefully this time I'll remember to hit the record video. That'll be coming a little bit later tonight, and all sorts of good stuff. Guys, thank you for being here and making a community of film fans that I get to be a part of and talk movies with every day. It's the best thing in the world. So long to everybody. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. My name's John Campea. And oh, guys, don't forget, one more thing before I forget. Of course, we do have a Patreon supporting this channel. Guys, do me a favor, if you've not seen this, go on over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. Get all the information about what it means to be a Patreon supporter, what perks there are to being a Patreon supporter, and how being a Patreon supporter keeps the show on the air. And for those of you who are already Patreon supporters, don't forget the new Friday. It is Friday. That means the new episode of our Patreon exclusive podcast, Best of the Week, is coming up a little bit later today. That's going to be me, Robert, and Ashley. We're going to be doing that, so keep your eyes open for that if you're Patreon supporters. The new episode of the podcast is coming today. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next show, bye-bye.